Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lions of the Desert podcast. I will be mentioning my sponsor and world sponsors, my friends, my shout outs, everything, just a moment here. This is going to be a fun show. I've got the free agent signings for Detroit, the Lions. We're going to go through a few free agency thoughts too, because it was really busy. It was really truly busy, and as usual, every time this part of the year, Aaron Rodgers still doesn't know where he's going. Okay, and I think it's a personal thing with him. He just stays in the darkness until called. People are talking about the Steelers, but I really don't know. So what we'll do that, and then we got to talk about the Pistons, who are in a three-way tie for fourth in the Eastern Conference, and they're looking good. They are beating Washington right now. I'll do my best to keep you up to date on that score there too. And then you've got the Red Wings, and I'm of the belief, I truly am, that all four sports teams in the city of Detroit, Michigan, will be in the playoffs this year. The Lions already were. The Pistons and the Red Wings are both set up for it. And then you've got the Tigers. And the way the Tigers are going to play this year, I'm quite certain. If they just do half of what they did last year, at the end of last year, they'll be in the playoffs. I think they'll do really, really well. So let's give me a moment here. We'll start off the Detroit Coney Grill. Now, you always know that the 6953 North Hayden Road, just south of Indian Bend there, the Detroit Coney Grill in Scottsdale. But during Lions season, I always do play-by-play, have a lot of fun with the fans. We all pick the scores for a prize, and we just have a good time. So if you're ever in the neighborhood, once the Lions start again, we'll start at preseason because we'll be very itchy at preseason and we're ready to go. It's so hard for me to wait for football to get started, like a lot of people. And then I look at I'm hoping that the opening game, the word around the league for the people who make the schedules up, we're looking at Detroit at Philly, and I would love that as an opening game. So let's get back to work here. You got the Detroit Coney Grill. Now, also, yes, you got the Detroit Coney Grill. Now, David Nager, owner and head busboy at the Detroit Coney Grill, and that's the reason I love him. I say that in love, not in jest, because if the place is really busy, Dave is not afraid to jump out there and help out everybody. And that's the way an owner should be. Sometimes you go to places and a lot of the owners will just hang around and they'll watch people, see if they're doing their jobs and stuff. No, a real owner to me jumps out there and gets in the trenches with them. And, Detroit, we love trenches. So we'll talk about that because they opened a new one. There's a new Detroit Coney Grill. And the hours are 10 in the morning at 9 p.m. at 1422 West Warner Road in Gilbert. The usual, the Coney dogs, the Fago pop, baby. I'm a rock and rye kind of guy. Tonight I might grab one in the second half of the podcast. And I love Fago, rock and rye. I remember when David first opened on Broadway and Hardy in Tempe. And I was on the bus and I was going back towards school, ASU. And I saw Detroit Coney Grill and I hit the button immediately. I just hit it, because no matter what, I had to investigate this. So I go in there, I investigate it, and I had an absolute ball. I met David. It was just starting out, and we set up. I had him on the radio show a few times. We've talked about that and other things, but it was just such a cool thing. I couldn't stand it. So and now they've expanded. You got Detroit Coney Grill in Scottsdale. You got the new one in Gilbert. All that man does is keep working hard with a wonderful family. Love them all. Wonderful family. His daughter Lily, who's my favorite waitress. The girl just doesn't stop. I don't know how she does it. I waited tables at Tedder Bar for 30 years, and I know good crew when I see one. And that's the ultimate good crew. And that kitchen's off the chart. They know how to make those Coney dogs. All the French fries are fresh. They're cut right there and made right there. This is none of that frozen stuff. These are fresh potatoes. So, and then my favorite burger is the Cowboy Burger. I mean, how can you resist it? 4 patties, onion rings, bacon, cheese, Then you get a side of chili fries, and I'm in heaven when I eat that. That's just all there is to it. I'm in heaven when I have that. So that's just the way it goes. And it's a lot of fun. So now we'll get to, I'm going to try to get that glare out of my eyes. And let's see where that's coming from. No, it's not that. Where the glare is coming from? Maybe it's a light somewhere. Okay, that's so what. This is news, not the weather. Am I correct? Okay. Detroit Coney Grill, once again in Gilbert, brand new, opened up just very recently, maybe a week ago. 1422 West Warner Road. Their number is 480 272 9842. 480 272 9842. Give them a call. They could probably put a party package together, or you could get something to go. But you've called them ahead of time. I'm quite certain it could be ready by the time you end up there. It takes a while to cook because it's good food. I have another one today. JVN Cleaner Service, and Amy Quintera had just started this herself. The phone number is 480-845-2920. Now, what they do cleaning, but not residential. In other words, residential live-in. Now, if you're opening a B&B or someone has just left that needs cleaning, give Amy a call. If you car dealerships, small businesses, warehouses, what have you, she does the cleaning job. And from what I understand, I know some of the clients she has, and it's very, very good. JVN Cleaning, and talk to Amy, probably one of my best people I've ever met in my life, Amy Quintero. And that number, once again, is 480-845-2920. There it was. I had to look. These aren't the best glasses. But Amy does good work, JVN Cleaning Services, and we'll just see how that all works out because I want this lady to be successful. That's why we'll mention here on the podcast. We have a lot of listeners. You might need some cleaning service done. Give her a call. I would really appreciate that. Now let's get to the, let's say how you say this country, bread and butter of the business. We did have the free agency, and the Lions have re-signed plenty of our regular players. Okay, but you can't beat the picks we have and the people they brought back. All right, I love it. First and foremost, DJ Reed, getting DJ Reed from the Jets. Carlton Davis was giving all kinds of craziness going on there, right? All kinds of craziness. And and we were having fun with it and what have you. But he wanted to go somewhere he wants to get paid. Now he's hurt all the time, okay? Broken jaw. Oh, that's horrible, huh? Broken jaw. But he left, and he went to the Patriots. Now he signs for 3 years, $60 million. We get DJ Reed, 3 years, $48 million. He doesn't get hurt. He plays a wonderful, wonderful game. He truly does. And then the part I like about it, he doesn't get hurt as much, and people kind of do a thing, and he's 5'9" and everything else like that. But he's so good. And he's not the big interceptions guy, but he's a big tackle, man-to-man or zone coverage. We got the deal. We got the deal in that one because we needed a cornerback. We need cornerbacks. But I look at it back there now. You look at it back there now. All right, so you got DJ Reed. You're going to have Arnold, right? Turk Arnold. Every time I say the word Turk, I keep thinking about Screwball for the Tigers, so I kind of mix that up a little bit. But you got Arnold back there. He'll be in his second year. He's worked really hard, and I think he'll do just fine. Rickenshaw will be a lot better. Now, Vidor has left and went to the Dolphins. So we'll probably pick up some more corner help in the draft, and we'll get to the draft in just a little while. Because my number one pick, I think he's cleared of any kind of charges and stuff. I have him, but I'll talk about him. From the Arizona Cardinals, all right, we get Roy Lopez, defensive tackle. And when he was here, he's just a solid guy on the line, from what I understand. You don't go to the Detroit Lions unless you can play, unless you're going after somebody. He goes to the Lions. What is something we have been hearing lately that is just really cool? Is a Dan Campbell kind of guy. It only took a couple of years for that to come out. This is a Dan Campbell kind of guy. This is the kind of guy we want on that line. We want, one on our players. Excellent choice. Excellent choice. And I expect him to be either starting, good backup. You can still have Brockton. But of course, Aline McNeil, DJ Reader, and you have a good, solid defensive tackle line. You've got Aiden Hutchinson. You've got a few people back there that are edge rushers. Marcus Davenport just signed another contract with him. Levi Unzawiki went to the Dolphins. Davenport, I like being there. I do. And I like the Derek Barnes and Dan Skipper. But Dan Skipper plays once a year for everybody. You know what I mean? He plays once a year for us, and it doesn't matter. He's there. And I really like that. You see my little parrot behind me over there. That's pretty cool. And so you look at those players, and we had a good free agency, and it's all back up. Once again, the NFC North will be the teams. They'll be the teams. I think they'll be the division to win. And we're going to go through those right now. Green Bay, they got Nate Hobbs from Vegas, and they picked up Brandon McManus from the Jags. That's a good pickup for them. He's a good kicker. They needed a good kicker. And you got, like I said, Nate Hobbs, right? So cornerback Nate Hobbs from Vegas and Aaron Banks. All right, so you've got some good people going up to the Packers. The one thing that we're talking about with the rest of the NFC North is we swept them all last year. We're 6-0 and 8-0 on the road totally, but we beat them pretty good. And they're just short except for the Bears. I don't know what Ben Johnson's going to do up there. He's got some good people there. We'll get to them in just a moment. But the Packers, you got LeFleur, and you've got good D. You do. You have good D. You have good linemen. And Jordan Love, let's see what one more year has for him as far as getting better and better. That's all you want out of a quarterback. And he was pretty unsure of some throws. But my favorite throw he made was in Green Bay, and it was intercepted by Kirby Joseph. That was a fun one. That was good fun to watch. You get to the Bears. Now they get Jonah Jackson, our old player, from the Rams. And does it sound like the Rams are having a fire sale? They re-signed Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp was put on waivers this morning. We'll see who picks him up. I wouldn't know on that one yet. But they have, you got him from the Rams, and you got Joe Thuney, and then you got Grady Jarrett from the Falcons. The Bears, I'm going to the Bears. And the fun part is Ben Johnson. The whole thing relies, as far as I'm concerned, on that. How does he handle being a head coach? How does he get along with the McCluskey family? Because that's where a lot of the coaches have had troubles, right? They want to put some things together, and it's not going. But Poles, I'll tell you what, has proven be a good GM on this free agency this year. They picked up plenty of players, and it looks like they're rolling along fairly well there. I can see the improvement in them. Here we go, the Vikings. Looking for a quarterback, I'm sure. Back up for J.J. McCarthy, or if something happens. I want J.J. McCarthy to do well. I do. He's a Michigan man. And you saw how he did with the Wolverines. Just awesome. But they picked up who do we get now? We got Byron Murphy, cornerback, and we got offensive guard Will Fair. That's a good one. All right. So they're picking up the pieces. They're getting good people there. And Ben Johnson's doing one thing right. He knows he will not be successful without the trenches. And he learned that in Detroit. Remember, he was an assistant before he became an offensive coordinator there. And then once he did, he did very, very well. Did very well. He just picked up on it and ran with the ball. So I look at the entire NFC North, and I'm going to say it once again, but I'm putting it this way. I'm going Lions, Packers, Vikings, and Bears final until I see how they're going to do in the beginning. We're all going to play each other a lot. I'm going to come up with the Lions schedule in just a few moments. And you've got to wonder, we're playing all the top guns. We were first place. We were number one seed, 15-2. Fantastic record for Detroit, a record breaking. That's the best we've ever done. 15-2 is the best the Lions have ever been. And I got to be proud of that. We lost to the Redskins. The team was decimated with injuries. And there were even a couple during that game, too. Terrion Arnold goes out. But I look at that, all right, get rid of the injuries, get the depth and health. The other thing I think that was really bad that hurt the Lions was having the 5th week bye and playing all those other games in a row. You need to bye, I think, a little further up. I really feel the NFL needs to change that. Even if you have to add one more to the ones going up there, because those early byes kill teams. I haven't seen any teams with an early bye do any good. I just haven't, because they end up with injuries and they can't move. And the Lions are a very good example of that. You remember was a couple of weeks I had my fix for the NFL, and I said, let's go 18 games, no preseason, cut as you cut. Everybody keeps going, well, they need to prove, they need to prove. Well, they'll do that in practice, or you can cut them in the first 2 games. It doesn't matter. 18 games is 18 games, and 2 bye weeks, and then have the playoffs to where the Super Bowl is the day before President's Day in February. Stretch it out a little bit. You got 18 games. You can do the bye weeks a little better on that. Each team gets 2 of them. And I think that's really fair for a couple of teams, for teams to have 2 bye weeks in that kind of a stretch. And that kind of takes the edge of the preseason away too, because you're keeping people healthy. Because 9 times out of 10, when you're starting the games, you already know who you're going to want in there. But you want to see someone else get better or see someone who can improve. And we'll see how that works out for them. All right. And let's see. I think I've got the schedule. Not the schedule. The schedule release is one of my favorite days too. All right. You can send me in the chat. I have the chat set up here. What's the first game you look at when you look at the Lions schedule? For me, it's Thanksgiving. I always want to see who we're playing on Thanksgiving. And I want that. I just always love seeing that. And I don't want it to be NFC North people. Get somebody good from the outside to come in to Ford Field and play Thanksgiving. I would love that. Have the Bills on a Thanksgiving. Have the Patriots, the Raiders, I would love, on a Thanksgiving day. Make it entertaining, and you don't have to just keep it the NFC North. Okay, that's probably what I think hurt us for quite a while there. On the Lions schedule, now home games, of course, Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota. But home, we also have the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Cincinnati. And how are you going to beat that? That's all going to be fun. And then on the road, away, of course, Chicago. Oh, wait. Yeah, did I get everybody? Tampa Bay, right. And then away, Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota. Philadelphia Eagles. Remember I had mentioned I'd love to see them at the beginning. The Washington Redskins, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens, KC Chiefs, and the LA Rams. And that's pretty much so those would be our road games. That'll be I think it would be just a whole lot more fun. And what I'm going to do is cut to this for a moment and get some people out here before I go to before I start talking about the draft. Mobile, Arrowhead BMW, and the folks at Arrowhead BMW. We'll talk about them here now. Mobile is on my regular radio show every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on 1100 KFNX, the Shoeshine Micro Radio Hour. And he will always talk about the temperature of the dealership, how busy they are, what cars are in stock. They have the certified pre-owned cars with a 172-point inspection. And these are like brand new cars. I'm there. I've seen them, and they're wonderful. On the show last week, we were talking a lot about with Cole Lauderman, and he runs the internet department. Okay. And does a really good job on that, too. We talk about that a lot because you go to arrowheadbmw.com, discover the car of your dreams, and cruise off into the Arizona sunset. Then you also have Eric Barrera. Eric's a pretty laid-back guy. I don't see anything that anybody could have. I don't think he ever has an argument. He's one of the people. He's such a nice guy. You don't think he ever has an argument. So yeah, give him a shout out there too. Paul Kettner. I don't think I have met one man in my life with so many pairs of shoes. With so many pairs of shoes. I don't think I've ever known that. He brings them in. I get them fixed, because I repair shoes too. And I'll take them home and I'll make sure they get fixed and everything. And but I'll tell you what, that man knows how to present a good deal. He knows he's very, very good at statistics and small details. And that's why I would talk about him. He's really good at that, along with his friend Russ Smith. Russ Smith is also right on there. And I love all that. Now, here are the individual phone numbers. Give them a call. If you know one of them, you've got his number down there at the dealership. These are direct lines. These are not through the dealership. Mobile at 217-553-2401. 217-553-2401. Cole Lauderman, wonderful guy, right on top of everything. 309-339-1824. 309-339-1844. Eric Barrera at 480-486-4270. And like I said, Eric is just that easygoing guy. It's just everybody's friend kind of guy. Paul Kettner, 480-334-8878. 480-334-8878. Now we'll continue on because we got the draft coming. We got 8 picks in the draft this year, and the good part about that too, the draft is pretty loaded, pretty well loaded with I would say with the defensive people that we need, and I think it's going to go that. I can see a receiver, of course, offensive guards. We could use a couple of guards out there, maybe a tackle for the future, because I know Graham Glasgow is getting up there. Taylor Decker signed a contract, but he's still getting up there too. And if there's any place you want depth, and you want depth are the trenches, either way, offensive, defensive lines. And I could see that. I would like Mike Green from Marshall. Now, I know he has some things, I don't know, super legally, what have you, but he has some things he has to clear up. And we're kind of hoping for that. They're legal issues. And we'll see what happens on that. I like him. There's a few others, plenty of good edge rushers in there. Linebacker from Alabama. I know that one. A couple of good offensive guards that are coming up in the draft too. We're at 28 this year. And how weird is that we're not like in the top 5 of picking in the draft, right? We're number 28. That's what going 15-2 will do for you, right? You get success, you go to the bottom of the draft, and we're so used to being at the top of it. When we did the draft with for Goff and Stafford, all right, look at all those number ones, high picks that we had. We had 2 in the 1 year that we got Jamison Williams and Aiden Hutchinson. I love it. We had 2 in the year that we got Jamar Gibbs, right, and Campbell. Come on, man. And but now we're at 28. We've got 8 picks through the draft. I trust Brad Holmes because once again, everybody thought he was being pretty laid back, but no, he grabs DJ Reed from the Jets, right, and gets him in there because we need a cornerback. And he knew the hassles that would come with Carlton Davis, who was like texting just a tad too much for my blood, saying, "I'm the best now. Give me. I want to see the money. I want to see." Well, you saw it in Pittsburgh, so he got us $60 million. All right. He's rich. He can be quiet now. So I leave it to Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, Ron Wood, and of course our girl Sheila Hemp. Sheila's just done such a good job as an owner of that team and with good advisors. Chris Spielman, I know he wants to go do something else now, but his work will of course never be forgotten. Never. We'll always have Chris Spielman there. So as the greatest linebacker, one of the greatest linebackers Lions ever had. That debate could go forever. That Wayne Walker, Joe Schmidt, Mike Lucci, Chris Spielman. We've had some pretty good linebackers. I like Alex Anzalone and Campbell back there right now. Derek Barnes back up our 3-man linebackers. I can't wait. I like to see how Calvin Shepard's going to put this defense together next year because it's going to be a decent defense. It's going to be good. Kill the injuries, be average or a little bit above average. Let the offense do their work. And the Lions are in there. A lot of teams that have been in the Super Bowl, their defenses weren't all lights out and everything, but defense does win championships because you got to stop the good guys. I agree with that. Our offense, a few changes here and there, but leave it alone. Leave it alone. I like the line. Of course, you like Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery behind him. And Craig Reynolds is back, and you've got Amon St. Brown, Jamison Williams. And I'm hoping Tim Patrick sticks around. I really am. And then you got your tight ends, Brock Wright. Who? Brock Wright. And of course, Sam Laporta. So you've got plenty there going. And I still like that defense more and more when I think about it. If you got DJ Reed and you got Terrion Arnold, they're doing well. Okay. You got Amik Robinson back there too. So he's right there solid. And then some guy named Kirby Joseph, some other guy named Brian Branch. That's going to be a good back edge. Get that up front, and I'm sure they'll have it. I'm sure they'll have a good up front. They'll pick somebody in the draft and work them through there to start. And this could be an exciting team next year. Well, it's going to be an exciting team, but we all want that next step. Well, we lost in the conference championship twice. But this time we could have gone to the Super Bowl. So, we just do our best. Would we have beaten Philly? I don't know. I think we would have. But that's just me being my Lions fan, homeboy shit. Do all of that. So, okay. So that's enough of all that. What we'll do, so we got the free agency. We've got all that. I'm going to take a quick break here. Not break, but I'm going to do a few more few more of my folks here. I want to talk about some of the other players in free agency. So we get that out of the way. And you got Sam Darnold in there. You got Josh Sweat, Justin Fields. You got some people going on in there. But what we'll do right now is I'm going to go to VW on Pima and Indian School Road. I've got some good players there, and Lester Perales and Nelly Davenport. Lester Perales, him speaking to Espanol, a good guy, a good man. Yeah, you'll like him. Um, you would really enjoy talking with him. As a Nelly. Nelly's the girl next door. Just a ray of sunshine. Good lady. Very knowledgeable on their products, both of them. Lester Perales and Nettie Davenport. Good folks. You get Lester at 480-295-5093, 480-295-5093, and Nettie Davenport 520-213-1421, 520-213-1421. Let's see if how deep we can get the voice going today, because I know Amy's listening. She wants to hear the voice. I've heard that directly. She sends angels to tell me to use the voice. All right. Now there are other free agencies. Okay, other free agents picked up. Sam Darnold went to Seattle. Geno Smith. Geno Smith goes to the Raiders. It's interesting. It's interesting. Now, Sam Darnold is going to be Sam Darnold. And I think because of his success last year, and you kind of hope he's got people to throw to and things to do on that, he'll be okay. But I don't think it's going to be anything spectacular. We'll see what Mike McDonald wants to do with him, and just kind of take a look at that, because my judgment's out on him after playing the Lions in that last game, and everybody else is playing good except him. The line was decent. The defense was decent. Justin Jefferson being covered by Meek Robinson, couldn't catch a ball to save his soul. That was one of the best things I've seen. And Meek Robinson came with probably one of the best lines I ever heard in my life. You can't bury those that come from the dirt. When he was talking about himself and how hard he had to work to get there. You can't bury those who come from the dirt. That was excellent, man. That was just so good. He was so happy that night. It was good to see that. And the Cardinals pick up Josh Sweat. You got a good edge rusher there. You got a good defensive man there. Great pickup for the Cardinals. Absolute great pickup for the Cardinals. The Colts, two big pickups. All right, Shavarius Ward, okay, cornerback. Great call. He was the top cornerback. Number 2 was DJ Reed. But Ward is just lights out. But the Colts also picked up Danny Jones from the New York Giants, pardon me, the New York Football Giants, and we'll see how he does. The Colts are one of those wonder teams. They're always kind of flashy. They're always kind of good or in there. They have a thing with the Jacksonville Jaguars where they're always beating them all the time. But I've got to see how that all works out, because mostly, how are people going to adjust? How are they going to do? Darius Slay. Philly let him go. Everybody was kind of hoping Darius would come back because of the bad archangel, Matt Patricia, the laziest coach I've ever seen, laziest head coach I've ever seen, and kind of pushy and mouthy. You've got to be yourself. You can't pretend to be Bill Belichick and then do a very, very bad Bill Belichick. Just so worthless. But he got rid of Darius Slay, which pissed us all off a lot. Darius Slay was big play. Slay was the guy. And then, but he now signed with Pittsburgh. And we were kind of hoping to come back to Detroit, and finish his career here. Might do it one day or something. Might play some celebration with that after this year is over for him, right? So we'll go take care of that. And then Kevin Zeitler. Zeitler was great on the line with Detroit. He went to Tennessee. God bless him. And I guess Christian Mahogany will take over his spot. Or you also got the other guy whose name I just forgot, but I'll get there back again in a moment. But because I'm mostly looking at Mahogany coming in from Boston College. It was just really, really good player, and will do very, very well. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take a quick break. It's only take me a moment. I want to find out the Pistons score. I want to go to Little Boys room, and hang tight, hang on with me. I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. We were only gone a few minutes there. The Pistons are losing 83-70 in the third period, and that's causing me some concern there. But we got it. I've got the game on here, and so I'll keep an eye on it. But they're tied for fourth spot in the Eastern Conference. They need to move up. This is Washington. Washington is what, 13-51. All right, the Pistons got to get going because they won the other night, 123-103. So, but you're in the third period with 8 minutes left, so that's plenty of time for them to catch up. You got to love the Pistons and how they're moving along because they were 14 games they won last year. Now they're at 37. Okay, so the joke was that the Pistons and the Lions pretty much had the same win record. So that's not cool for the Pistons at all. Cade Cunningham doing a heck of a job. They're tied with Indiana and Milwaukee, and I think they have like 15 games left. So I mean, let's just and the coach of the year will be JD Bickerstaff. It will be because he's just pulled off so much for them. We really want that to come along there. We really want to see the Pistons well. I mentioned it earlier, and I want to see all four teams in the playoffs. If anything, I'd like to see all four teams in the playoff. City of Detroit's under rebirth, and they've just been moving right along, and it's just so wonderful to see. If you have, go on YouTube, look up the Michigan Central Station concert, and it was all Detroit talent, and it was when the Michigan Central Station reopened, was refurbished by the Ford Motor Company for over $1 billion. It was built in 1884 and done to its original capacity with a beautiful courtyard with the Honolulu blue lights all over the building. All the buildings have Honolulu blue lights now. If the Lions are playing, they pop them on, and I love that like no one's business. The draft had 775,000 people there, and you couldn't beat that. So, we'll see how the Pistons do. They just knocked down a three-pointer. So, Cunningham, that's nice. So 83-73 in the third period. The Pistons moving right along. Now, we go to the Red Wings. They are poised also. All right. You got Patrick Kane, the best shootout player ever, if there's ever a shootout. You got the boys on that team, Redmond, right? Siders as the goalie. They wanted to pick up a goalie. I don't know if they did or not because I guess they're still going through the trade period where they can pick one up. And just see the Red Wings get in there too. And now, I don't know. They're playing good ball, but sometimes their defense just doesn't stick up with them. The Red Wings are a good team. When I was a child, mind you, the only time we went to the west side of Detroit, which is kind of funny because the Detroiters are weird. Nobody passes Woodrow on either side. Even in the Olympics, I remember the one player was from Detroit. She was from the west side of Detroit. Distinction between east side and west side. I don't know where that came from, but I love it. Woodward Avenue goes for miles and miles, but it cuts right through downtown Detroit. And nobody goes west of Woodward. But as a child, Dad would take us to Olympia Stadium, me and my brother Joey, and we would watch the Red Wings. And we saw Gordie Howe and Ted Lindsay and Terry Sawchuk. Ooh, it was such a pleasure to go there because you could scream, you could holler, and the Red Wings were a wonderful team. And we've gotten a few good things. Steve Eiserman's been back there as GM now. He's putting together, I think, a decent team. He really is. I think he's putting together a very, very decent team. They just got to get going and get winning. But once they made changes to the coach and Macklin became the coach, they started winning. They started going and winning, and you can't help but love that. So let's continue the wins. My wings, wings beneath my wings, wings beneath my wings is something in that neighborhood. Go figure. Let's give a shout out before we go to the Tigers because we got a good stretch on the Detroit Tigers. We're going to go to Hyundai at Piedmont Indian School. Really good folks down there. Sean Sakari. Now, Sean heard the show last week. Love the shout out I gave to him. And I have to remind people they're getting a few phone calls. They're getting phone calls, But Sean Sakari has the kicks, the tennis shoes that you can't call them tennis shoes, dress tennis shoes, show offs, just like him. But he's a good, solid salesperson. Very able to greet, very able to deal with people in an absolute way. I only pick the people I've known for a long time, and they're all very, very good people. And these are my customers for a long time. And I know them all personally, and we talk a lot of sports. They love the podcast, and I'm really glad that they're they're listening in. All these good people. Sean Zakari. You got Dan McClure, pardon me. Dan is just one of those guys that's been there for a while, been a salesman quite a while, knows the ball game, knows any questions you have, he knows it. Right? It could be you could ask about another car, is it the same as another car? He would know the absolute difference. He's very professional, very cool, and a great appearance. So you got him. Then you got Maurice Bembry. Maurice is a professional wrestler. You have to submit to Maurice. And he'll be on my regular radio show, when we have the chance. You can't get away from the dealership on a Saturday morning, but we can have a call in, and he can talk to us about that. They're all there. So get a hold of Sean now at 602-358-3206. 602-358-3206. And Maurice Bemby at 602-824-8035. All right, those are good guys. I didn't get in there. Now, the Tigers, I'm just going to kind of freelance this because, our opening night, our opening game, March 27th, and we were with the Los Angeles Dodgers in Dodger Stadium, in Echo Park, in Los Angeles. And I was really worried about the fires because I used to live in Echo Park, right next to Silver Lake there. And right off Sunset, I lived on Lucia. And the man who originally had the land called it Echo Park, but all the streets were named after his daughters. It was pretty cool, after his children. And we lived on Lucia, and I could see the Hollywood sign. I could see it deteriorated, to be honest with you. And they've rebuilt it now. I was really worried about the fires coming down there and knocking it out. But Dodger Stadium, still strong, still cool. Home of the greatest baseball broadcaster ever, right? I mean, I love my Ernie Harwell and George Kell when I was a kid in Detroit. But Vin Scully, the master, just the master. I mean, just a guy, you can't beat the way he would. Every good broadcaster has a shtick that they go to. Ernie Harwell, it was always when it was a foul ball. Well, souvenir for somebody in Hamtramck, souvenir for somebody in Garden City, souvenir for somebody in Bloomfield Hills. Let's throw Ferndale in there while we're at it. Maybe even Wyandotte if they came up from downriver to watch a Tigers game. Downtown Detroit with the sports all in one spot is the only city in the United States where all four teams play downtown in one huge, gorgeous area, the sports complex. I think they spent $3.5 billion for all the stadiums, Little Caesars, Ford Field, Co-America Park. Every now and then, forgive me, I will slip and call it Briggs Stadium at the corner, Michigan and Trumbull. And you know where the corner is, which is now the old Tiger Stadium is now rebuilt, and it's Little League playoff stadium. Kids can play baseball there. The originals are all set there. It's set the way it was, of course, without the stands and the hoopla, but it's at the corner. The Tigers, Tarek Skubal is going to go against Ohtani. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. I pretty much the lineup, but the improvement you're seeing from Torkelson, Meadows, all these guys are hitting, pitching. It's going to be a good team. It's not the one of the four I would worry about getting to the playoffs. The Wings are the ones most in my mind to get to the playoffs. They're the ones I would think about the most if they were getting there. But, all we can do is wait and see. 83-79. All right. Washington hasn't scored. The Pistons are coming right up. 83-79. It was 83-70. And we're 6 minutes in the third to go. So it looks like the Pistons are bouncing back, folks. I would love them to have this one. Get 38 wins. So much better than last year. Back to the Tigers. Good pitching staff. Jack Flaherty came from the Los Angeles Dodgers. And there he is going at it again. Jack Flaherty. You got to like this guy. He won a game in the World Series. Therefore, he's won his World Series game. He's got a ring. Come on back to Detroit and bring one this year for the Tigers. The four of them in the playoffs. Wow. That's pretty exciting stuff. That's pretty cool. You got Michigan State coming up in a basketball game because March Madness is coming up. I'm figuring Michigan State will be amongst the top seeds. I'm looking at Michigan State as a 2 or 3. Possible one, but I'm also looking at the Wolverines and probably the 4th seed. They've done well. You got Danny Wolf there, and you got Glendon and in the middle of the center, and they're a 1-2 punch if there ever was one. That's just so cool. And it's now 88-81. Washington over the Pistons, but the Pistons are in the fight back in the third period. Um, I love always the 1-2 punch of everything. So you got the Tigers, the Red Wings, the Pistons, the Lions, Michigan State, which will be the final scheduled game of the year. Michigan at Michigan State. That will have a lot to do with the Big Ten championship game. So, and they lost it. So, so I'm looking at Michigan not being high, but they'll be in it. I think they'll be in it. So we'll go from there. It's been a fun broadcast. Detroit Coney Grill, Amy Quintera, all my good salespeople. Let's do a quick wrap up of the last ones that we have here, and then I'll give my final statement. So we'll go away for the evening. We'll be back Sunday, Throwback Sunday. The game and the game this week will be the Detroit Lions, the Seattle Seahawks on Monday night, and that was one heck of a game. But now I get to call them play-by-play, give you other information like we did today. Just have a nice podcast for my friends and my people from Detroit. Plenty of subscribers now, many listeners. I can't wait to be back there live, though. But I'm going to try to get there opening day. If Michigan State go into the Final Four, I will be there to do those games. The Pistons, the Red Wings, if they're playoffs, I will be down at Troy Coney Grill, 6953 North Hayden Road. And we will call the play-by-play of those games with all our wonderful fans that we have. It is the place for Detroit sports in Arizona. If you're a fan of any of the teams, we're there. And everybody is from Detroit there. There's a big map of Michigan, and you walk in, you get a stick pin, and pop it right into where you're from. I hit Hamtramck without a problem there. Joseph Capo and 7 Mile. Here we go. All right. Let's go to Wright Honda. My buddy Gibby, that's his name, Gibby. We just call him Gibby. But he's been around a few years, a very easygoing guy. Gets along with people so well. And give Gibby a call at 602-369-4330. 602-369-4330. Yes, I was right. And then Rocky. Rocky is just like his name. He's a rock. He's right there in the corner. He's got the corner spot. He's looking over everything. He knows what to do and how to do it. And just a fine, easygoing man. Recently, I had the flu really bad. So, Rocky, I hope you're doing much better. He's finally back at work. He had to be off for a few days there and get over it. A lot of people right now, this is the time of year in Arizona, everybody catches a flu. And I think a lot of it has to do, it's so hot here during the summer that when it gets cold here, and to other people that live here, the natives and what have you, it's really cold. I'm from Michigan, guys. It's not cold. It's really not. I still wear shorts during the winter. All right. And you got those two wonderful guys. Rocky's at 602-348-0673. 602-348-0673. And it's just been a wonderful thing. It's coming up upon spring in Detroit. And so I know opening day of baseball, to me, is the official day that spring opens. I want to say thank you to all my friends who are watching this podcast. I want to say I give a shout out to Chet Reynolds on my other show, the Shoeshine Mike Radio Hour, this week, 10 a.m. every Saturday morning at 1100 KFNX, the Pulse of Arizona. And we do broadcast all the University of Arizona games, football and basketball. So you can always go there, find out when the next game is coming on, and just give it a good listen. Thank you all for listening. Lines of the Desert podcast is going away now. We'll be back Sunday morning. We'll do play-by-play of the Seahawks at Detroit on Monday Night Football, which was a game that Jahmyr Gibbs just absolutely owned. It was a wonderful, wonderful game. And the best hit of a running back in the entire season, Montgomery on Witherspoon, who the Lions really wanted to draft when the draft was going on last year, and they had to go over to Gibbs. That's what a shame we had to go to Gibbs. But it was always a lot of fun. So we're now 92-83, Wizards over the Pistons. It's a good game. I'm going to try to catch it on TV after we're done here. Peace, love, and rock and roll, y'all. And thank you for having me with you. Bye-bye. See you Sunday morning. And Amy, I hope we did well for you. Bye-bye. Oh, that was fun.